Okay, it's 7 o'clock, right? Is this good?
You ready, Dana?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, repeat after me. I, John Forrest,
I, John Forrest,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of supervisor
and that I will discharge the duties of supervisor
in Buckingham Township, Bucks County with fidelity.
in Buckingham Township, Bucks County with fidelity. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Lord. Okay, now we'll
Found in the middle of
move everything back.
Let's take a picture with the
John, we get a photo? John, can we just get a photo?
Don't move the flag.
He's like, I'm over
I
this,
know.
right?
Okay. Now, hold on. Let me switch it to camera. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. More. 2, 3. Perfect.
All right.
Thanks.
You know they're related to the blind guy. too.
I was gonna say something.
I'm just
It's
saying.
like you gotta get pictures of your feet or something.
I know. Yeah, we'll see how the pictures look. That's very, Denise is very trusting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Denise is very trusting. Okay.
Good. Mechanical engineer. Yes.
A little bit more.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Chris.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Your dreams
Welcome
are
back,
your
Connor.
ticket. You didn't think I knew that, did you?
I knew you knew it.
Okay.
You probably know all the words.
I do actually know all the words. I'm just saving you. Okay, give me a second. Give me 1 second, everybody. I didn't want to put this up to be in the background for John.
I didn't
Okay.
even think of it. My stuff was,
That's all right.
oh well.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. What's today's date?
Second.
January
January
2nd.
2nd.
You're right. I'll open the reorganization meeting for Buckingham Township, January 2nd, 2024. Okay, I'm going to make a motion. We make a temporary chair, and I make a motion we make Maggie Rash temporary chair.
Second.
Okay, any
Okay.
discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye. Okay, let's see, what does that mean? That means that we are going to have the organization of the Board of Supervisors. So I am going to, John, you want to make a motion for chairman?
I move that we appoint Paul Cadre as chairman.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
there you go.
Good.
Paul, you want to make a motion for vice
Yep.
chair?
First, thank you to John and you to making me chairman for another year. I appreciate it, and congratulations to John. And it's always an honor serving with you and John. I get an inside obviously track to you and John, and you are both incredible stewards of the township, and it's an honor serving with both of you.
It's an honor to be a steward.
Okay, I make a motion that we appoint Maggie Rash as vice chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do you get to vote for yourself?
You do.
Yes.
You do
You
get
better
to vote
vote
for yourself. Okay,
Now some real business.
exactly. So as I log in here, Maggie, can you just do, since you have it in front of you, can you do the first one while I log in?
Yes. This, number 3 is the appointment of voting delegates and alternate delegates to the annual convention of the State Association of Township Supervisors, commonly known as PSATS. That convention is in Hershey, and it is in April. And so I know that I'm going to be going as president of Picado, and I'm happy to be the voting delegate.
Yeah, I'll make that motion that Maggie be our voting delegate.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Paul, John, you want to go this year? Come on, be the alternate.
You can, I'll be the alternate.
Okay, I make a
Okay.
motion
Where's
that we
Denise?
make.
I'm moving that John is the alternate to the PSATS
Oh,
convention.
there you go.
You want a second?
Yes, I will totally second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's been
Okay.
like 10 years since I've been there.
Number 4, this is for consideration of setting appointments of various township officials for the year 2024, if you can believe that. It's resolution number 2608, and I move that we approve number 2608, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, setting the appointments of township officials for the year 2024. Be it resolved and enacted, and hereby resolved and enacted, the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham. The following appointments to township offices and positions appointed serve at the will of the supervisors and shall be effective for the year 2024. Craig Smith, reappointed as
It's
town.
ringtone, Gary.
Hmm?
Nothing, Gary's phone's going off.
Craig Smith, reappointed as Township Solicitor in accordance with the proposal dated December 7th, 2023. Knight Engineering Incorporated, appointed as Township Engineer in accordance with their proposal of December 6th, 2023. Castle Valley Consultants Incorporated, reappointed as Water and Wastewater Engineer in accordance with the proposal dated November 21st, 2023. Bucks County Planning Commission, Luke, I saw you, Luke. Nova, reappointed as planners for for Buckingham Township. Carol Manicone and David Sutkin, reappointed as landscape review consultants. Keystone Municipal Services, Inc., and that is who does our inspection as building and zoning department service providers. Larry Hepner, reappointed as township agronomist in accordance with the proposal dated December 4th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Ready?
Okay, thank you very
Number
much.
5.
Make a motion, we approve the appointment of our township manager for the year 2024, Dana Koza. Does a fantastic job for us. We appreciate what she does alongside the rest of our employees that she manages. Do I have a
Second.
second?
A sec. Go ahead.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I guess you guys can come up with
Lucky
your-
you. And that was resolution 2609, but I know you can read.
We can't stay out there for the meeting?
Sorry.
Isn't it more fun out there?
You don't get off that easy.
We're the cheap seats, no problem.
Okay. You just go back. Okay, number 6.
Happy New Year.
I make a motion,
Oh, you're at our end.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we're at number 6. We approve a resolution appointing a township secretary and treasurer and authorizing the secretary and treasurer to sign off on all contracts, plans, documents, and legal papers on behalf and in lieu of the Board of Supervisors, which would be, sorry, I'm just going by resolution. Do I have to read this whole thing?
No.
Okay.
Just say
So
that.
I make a motion, we appoint Jill, or Dana for Township Secretary, Dana Koza, and Jill Pistori, who's our Finance Director, would be appointed the Treasurer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, we approve the 4th Wednesday of each month as the Board of Supervisors' regular business meeting.
Second.
And that will be as needed, as if we have, if there's need for more, we would advertise and have them, but for all intents and purposes, would be the 4th Wednesday. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 8, I make a motion, we approve the setting the amount of the treasurer's bond for 2024 at $3 million. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, we approve the appointments to fill vacancies on the various township boards and commissions for the year of 2024.
And I have them if you
Go ahead,
want.
yeah, can you go, can you do those?
The vacancy board chairperson, we're appointing Scott Nickett for 1 year, a term expiring January 2025. Planning Commission, reappointing actually Andrea Mailing for a 4-year term, Mark Sandberg for a 4-year term, Lou Spatafora for a 4-year term, and newly appointed Frank Ripp Jr. for a 4-year term, those terms expiring 2028. Zoning Hearing Board, reappointing Diane Clemens for a 5-year term expiring January 2029. Water and Sewer Commission, appointing Matthew Walsh for a 3-year term and Hugh Hager for a 3-year term expiring 2027. Historic Architectural Review Board, appoint Dan Gray for a 3-year term expiring 2027. Ag Security Advisory Commission, they're all, we don't need new people, is that why it's highlighted?
It's highlighted so you complete the governing body rep and the alternate.
Okay, do we know who they are? Is it in this?
No.
It always goes between you three.
Yeah,
So I don't know who.
Oh, okay, it's John,
Yeah,
you.
I'm on the.
John
I'm on
was
ag-
it.
I'm on ag security.
and I
Oh,
was the
I see,
alternate.
okay, so, okay.
Sometimes you change it, that's why we left it
But
blank.
we
Okay.
choose you the same.
Okay,
I'm-
so
I'm
Ag Security Area Advisory Commission. In order to preserve your property has to be in the ag security area, and this commission needs to advise the planning commission first, and then the township board. John Forrest will be the governing body representative for 1 year, and Paul will be the alternate governing representative for 1 year. Agricultural and Open Space Preservation Committee, I'm the liaison to that.
Yep.
We are appointing Susan Siaka for a 4-year term, John Yerkes for a 4-year term, Tom Gilbert for another 4-year term, and Peggy Turley for yet also another 4-year term. Technical Review Board Appeals Board, appointing Peter Stamfel for 3 years and Scott Fleischer for 3 years. Environmental Advisory Commission, I'm also the liaison to that commission. We're reappointing Don Robb, thank you for your service,
Thank you, Don.
Thanks,
for a-
Don.
for a 4-year term, and James Frederick Walter for a 4-year term. That's it. And I'll just say, I have to put a kudos in for this Environmental Advisory Commission. Jim Walter has gotten us how many trees through grants this year? Hundreds
It's awesome.
of grants to be planted in Buckingham, in EACs, in our parks. They've gotten help from the high school to come and plant, so I'm just giving them a plug, because they are really working up a storm. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. I'll second all that.
Okay,
Is there any discussion about any of that?
I had it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 10, make a motion, we appoint B. Bergvall and Company, PC of Warrington, Pennsylvania, to audit the 2023 fiscal affairs of the township and the township officers. I have a second.
Got a second?
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 11, I make a motion, we approve a resolution setting the pay rates for non-uniform employees for the year 2024, which is resolution number 2615, which you've seen. Do I have a second for that?
You got a second?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 12, I make a motion, we affirm the holiday schedule for the township of non-uniform employees for the year 2024, which will consist of this. Martin Luther King Day, January 15th, President's Day, February 19th, Good Friday, March 29th, Memorial Day, May 27th, Independence Day, July 4th, Labor Day, September 2nd, Columbus Day, October 14th, Veterans Day, November 11th, Thanksgiving Day and the day after, which would be the 28th and 29th of November, Christmas Eve, 4 hours, and that will be obviously December 24th, Christmas Day, the 25th, New Year's Eve, closed at 3, December 31st, and New Year's Eve Day, New Year's Day, which is January 1st, 2025. Do I have a second?
You have a second. I can't even think about that.
I know, right?
Still recovering from this year.
Crazy. Okay, Maggie seconded. Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Want me to read 13?
Yes, please.
Yeah, 13, I move we consider of approving a resolution appointing an officer to provide tax certifications for the year of 2024, resolution number 2617.
Second.
Discussion, I will, Ann Calderon is a tax collector. Ann Calderon is my wife. Even though there's some things I can vote on, I'm going to abstain from voting on this. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay.
Number 14. I make a motion, we approve resolution number 2618. It's replacing resolution number 2593, establishing a fee schedule of the subdivision of land development, zoning, building, and other fees. Dana, is there anything of significance here?
No, mostly it's just some minor adjustments, some small increases, a couple dollars here and there just to cover our costs in the building department.
Right.
There's also a permit in lighting that we weren't charging for and realized that we were getting a lot of lighting plans in, so we charged the cost of reviewing them. So that's mostly what you see in the changes from last year.
And it's fair to say that our building department, as other departments, we don't make a profit on this stuff.
No.
We charge what it cost us. If anything,
Yes.
we're probably a little generous.
Pays for the staff.
It's 100%. So there's absolutely no profit. Like I said, I think it probably benefits the residents that are applying for things a little bit more, if you'd have to say that. So
Yep.
We're very cautious to raise rates. We definitely want to make sure it's solely to cover costs. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What am I on, 15? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, 15, thanks. Make a motion, we approve resolution number 2619, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, electing to reduce the member contributions to the police pension plan administered by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System, which is PMRS, to 4% from the PMRS police pension plan, 5% for the year 2024. Do I have a second?
Second. Yep,
Okay,
sorry, Mary.
discussion?
I can explain
Thank
what
you.
that is. So, at PMRS, the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System, they're the ones that manage our pension. They have a blanket 5% unless it is negotiated different in the police contract. Our police contract has 4% contribution of our police officers, so each year we have to do a resolution to adjust them.
Perfect.
That's
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 16. Make a motion, we approve resolution number 2620, amending resolution 2297, establishing uniform procedures for purchases of materials and supplies and adopting the Buckingham Township Purchasing Manual. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 17, make a motion, we approve resolution number 2621, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, replacing resolution number 2067, appointing an open records officer and adopting revised written policies and regulations under the right to know law.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 18, make a motion we approve the agreement between Buckingham Township and Central Bucks Emergency Medical Services for the year 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, number 19, to make a motion we approve the agreement between Buckingham Township and the Midway Volunteer Fire Company for the term of January 15th, 2024 to January 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion we approve an agreement between Buckingham Township and Lingahachen Volunteer Fire Company for the term of January 15th of 24 to January 14th of 25. Do I have a second?
A second, and I'll just make
Yep.
a comment that the fire tax that we collect, 67% goes to Midway, that's our main fire company. 20% to Lingahachen, and 13% of that money, that tax collected, goes to Doylestown Fire Company.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Give me 1 sec. Oh, sorry. Number 21. Make a motion we approve an agreement between Buckingham Township and the Doylestown Fire Company for January 15th, 24 to January 14th of 25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion we approve the payroll for the weeks ending December 17th of 23 and December 31st of 23, and the bill list for the meeting of January 2nd.
Second.
And that actually totals $435,582.44. Any discussion?
And the one thing, sorry to modify
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I know in there, we did ask for December 31st to be tabled at this time, just
Yeah.
because we're still working on it, being
Got it. Yep.
the way December 31st and today works. So we don't have that fully prepared for you
Okay,
yet.
so give me 1 second, because I did just read that as I said that.
Mhm.
So I'll just amend my motion to take out December 31st. And Maggie, I assume you second that?
You seem right.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion we approve the draft supervisor minutes of December 13th of 23 work session and December 13th, 23 regular business meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And John, I approve you say aye.
Aye.
Number 24, make a motion we accept various departmental minutes and advisory board minutes, which includes the safety committee for November 6th of 23. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 25. Okay. Consideration of granting preliminary approval.
Nikki?
Yep.
You guys are up.
Wake up, Mr. Murphy.
So I guess we were here a couple months back, and I think we brought everybody up to date as to where we were. And I think the only loose end that we were working on then was trying to address some of the lingering comments about the sewer system. And I'll defer to Greg, but I think, I see Gary here, but I think between Dan and Gary, the tenor of the emails I've been seeing seems to suggest that at the preliminary stage where we are, I think everyone feels comfortable moving forward based on the additional information and design work that's been provided. So I don't know if Greg has anything more to add than that, but I think that's where we're at.
No, that's, actually, I don't think Gary's involved in the review of this one, so, on the water and wastewater side. So, our consultants have, been discussing some things relative discussion, we can recap some of the sort of planning items that we have for interconnection with paths. I think that where we sort of left off last meeting, want to do that.
Nothing has changed. I mean, we're happy to go through it if you want, but nothing has changed from the elements in the plan that you've been seeing for the last year or so.
Well, I just want to make sure, and thank you for that feedback. Is there any neighbors here that had any questions or so forth about that or anything? Just want to make sure you get your public comment for this discussion. Okay. Maggie, did you have any questions or?
The water wastewater system is moving in the right direction, and everyone knows who's taking.
Me,
action.
not Gary.
Yeah, that's Dan. Dan may address that.
Yeah,
at this
so-
point. We have someone raising their hand in the back.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't see you.
I just want to ask a question. Is anything going to be done about the, like a traffic light or anything from Buckingham Springs to prevent them, you know?
On 413?
Right.
Yeah, 113, because the traffic is terrible now, trying to get out.
You know, when it first was built, people wanted a traffic light there, but then after they lived there for a while, they didn't want a traffic light there, and I don't think that you're gonna see enough accidents there to warrant a traffic light. That's PennDOT, so, it would be up to them, but,
I think it doesn't have the volume.
yeah, it has, I live there. You live on Lower Mountain,
Buckingham Springs.
or you live in Buckingham Springs?
Yeah,
So,
because it's getting harder and harder to get out, and with the traffic backing up, you know, from the school buses and everything else, we're gonna have an issue trying to get out of there, as it is now.
well, before Buckingham Springs was there, I had a problem getting out of the winery in the morning if I was making a left-hand turn, turning south. If you make a right-hand turn, there was never a problem. But, it's really only during rush hour traffic, so I don't know, I can't see, the accidents there's not that many accidents there.
Yeah, I think
To
just
warrant
in
a traffic
discussions over the years with PennDOT about that.
Well, the
and-
PennDOT sent a email
Yeah,
from Paul Lutz on April
Perfect, we have
22nd,
that up.
2022. It says, Matt, thanks for the email information. In reviewing this request and looking at the attached, the department agrees that the signal for the intersection of Pennsylvania 413 and Spring Meadow Boulevard would not be warranted based solely on the volume submitted. AADT for PA 413 is 13977. This is engineer speak, based on our records. That being said, the K factor, again engineer speak, being utilized to establish a directional peak hour traffic volumes appear to be reasonable. The department would not support the installation of a traffic signal at Spring Meadow Boulevard, and rather go on record and have secondary access to Lower Mountain Road.
So to your question, that's in regard to the new entrance and exit for the new development. And the same is gonna apply to Buckingham Springs, I'm afraid.
yeah.
Okay, so there's not gonna be any kind of changes at all.
PennDOT
That's a letter.
basically gets to make the decision, and they decided no.
And can there be a change in the future or not?
Well, sure.
If a traffic
It's not
study warrants
warranted,
it,
that's
yeah, if it's warranted by traffic study.
It's not a decision to be made, yes, no, it's a
A little
warrant
further
analysis.
down, on Lower, was it Lower Mountain or Upper Mountain, where they had the two accidents? You know,
Upper
where one of your colleagues was killed?
No, that was not in a,
Yeah, but
that was
that
not
won't
on,
want, it
yeah,
won't
that was not
warrant
in
a,
that was not in a
traffic
cross,
light.
that was not
No.
in an intersection.
Yeah,
That was in front of, Blue Moon Nursery. And the woman that you're referring to, who was in, New Hope Borough Council, swerved into the oncoming lane and hit a tractor trailer head on in her alley.
It wasn't because she was trying to get
No.
across the.
No, it was
No,
there was
actually
no
wasn't.
intersection there. Blue Moon Nursery is on the turn between Buckingham Elementary and the railroad tracks. And she swerved into the oncoming lane and hit a tractor trailer that was carrying a, dry cement. It didn't move because it weighed so much. So, yeah, that was very unfortunate, but it had nothing to do with the intersection.
And just let you know, when John says it doesn't warrant the amount of accidents, we're strictly talking about PennDOT's.
Requirements.
Traffic.
Yeah, because I live in Buck Forest, and I have like this weird two-way stop sign where some of the people don't stop and some, and I wanted more stop signs there, but PennDOT, like it does, they don't warrant it. They want to see the accidents. You know, we believe you stop something before accidents, but PennDOT has a different way of doing things. And we try to stay on top of things. So if you look where Maggie lives, Lower Mountain and Forest Grove, it didn't warrant any stop signs in the past. Now there's stop signs because it warranted it. So as time goes on, it might warrant it. It just doesn't warrant it now. That's what PennDOT's saying.
I just don't understand it because right now the traffic is terrible, backed up.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have school buses coming in and out of that development, and that's gonna slow things up even more so. And people are gonna start going to the side streets, and that's gonna, just doesn't seem right that there should be some sort of traffic control there.
I suspect that if it were up to this board, they'd probably require there to be some sort of traffic control there. It's not up to this board,
So
they,
it's up to PICO
yeah.
No,
PennDOT.
PennDOT.
for someone to have an accident, a really serious accident.
Or something.
Well,
Well,
and I
Well,
think,
and-
just for relativeness, this development is 42 single-family dwelling units, and there's over 300 units in Buckingham Springs. So the Buckingham Springs.
No,
There's 500
500,
500
yeah,
and
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So,
560 units in your neighborhood.
so if there was a warrant, and at one point, there was a signal proposed for your development that, as Mr. Forrest had mentioned, kind of wavered back and forth whether the residents in your community wanted it or not, and it was ultimately not put in.
Well, that was many.
But, and I agree, but I'm just saying, for just like scale, 500 units had a traffic signal, but kind of decided maybe not, versus 42 single family that will never meet the PennDOT warrants for
For a
traffic
light on
volumes.
their own.
You look at the volume on the main road and the volume on the approaching road, and there's a chart, and you kind of draw a line, and you put the point where it is, relative volumes, and it's just so far below the warrant, unless there's a significant accident problem, PennDOT won't warrant a signal there. And there's no way around it.
Many years ago, I mean, people that lived in Buckingham Springs were older and more retired. Now you've got younger people moving in, in the sixties still working, so you get a lot more people coming out of there.
Well, we
It's
have that
a
too,
private
yeah,
roadway,
yeah.
and again, it's unfortunate that it wasn't put in at the time, but that was what the decisions were.
And can we have your name for the minutes?
For Lori.
Just so we have,
An address.
I'm in Buckingham Springs.
thank you.
Okay, and by the way, if I apologize, if someone raised their hand and I don't see, I apologize, just say, excuse me, if we miss you.
You know what?
Somebody-
You might have
What?
done public comment.
Well, I did, but this is, you know what, we
Yeah, I know.
didn't, because I thought we were gonna earlier. So
Yeah.
after this, we'll do it. We'll have public
All right,
comment
we're
right
almost done.
after this. But public comment for this particular issue.
Yeah.
If anybody else, just say something if I don't see you. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
I
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
about waterways.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, really the only question, as Greg mentioned, we have gotten down to sort of the nitty gritty on operational stuff with the water and sewer. We still have some testing for them to complete to, get all the permits in place. But there's been a question of whether the township ultimately wants to accept ownership of this smaller water and sewer system. McKee operates their own water and sewer system for the Springs. And I think the question, at least from the staff, is whether the board would like to talk about that now, would like to defer that to final plan, and maybe get some information from the applicant of, if there are any issues with them owning and operating, extending the McKee, Buckingham Springs umbrella to cover the water and wastewater system here.
And as you said, Dan, we're okay if you want to defer that conversation. So-
I'm all for you taking over the water system.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have.
I just think for managing,
Yeah.
you have your system right there that you're already managing,
Yeah.
and we would have to,
And we have small water systems right now that
For
are,
ourselves.
that are just a headache.
yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I questioned it this afternoon is because, for your sake, you need to know that moving forward. I'm not gonna give you preliminary if you don't know that we don't wanna keep the wastewater system.
It's fine.
It's fine, they're gonna keep it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your decision. I mean, it's your choice.
It's your neighborhood.
Okay, what else?
There is a waiver letter. We generally support the various waivers. I don't know if you want to go individually through them.
Was there any that you don't?
We did the last time.
We did. That's what I'm saying. I think we've pretty much gone through them a couple times. It's road improvements and, we had,
And Dan, I just want we went through this a couple months ago, but Maggie was out of town,
Oh,
so we didn't
God.
vote on anything.
6 months or so
Yeah.
away.
like
Yeah.
April, May.
So why don't we do this simple? Are there any things
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
waiver
So,
request?
And-
we didn't
and-
want to approve with Maggie.
So
Or
the
not approve.
only, there were a few ones that I
You're in the
supported with
same
conditions.
class.
But the
Exactly.
one about road improvements and bike paths, was there any desire for any road improvements on Creek or
What?
Lower Mountain Road?
What number is that? What Saldo number, if you know?
I can speak for my neighbors at Craig and Lower Mountain Roads. We don't want improvements. We're gonna just stay on improvement.
2.7 in Dan's letter of April 14th.
Yeah, what's the citation?
Saldo section 9.18.A.
One, B, one, and C?
Yeah, that's curb, sidewalks, and bicycle paths. Now they're providing the appropriate improvements along Durham Road, but along Lower Mountain and Creek, they're asking for relief. So, and again, there was some discussion about bike paths internal, but there was also concerns that that would be taking away some of the farmland, as well as kind of changing the character along those roads. So, looking for direction from you guys of how you,
I
whether.
mean, I don't have a problem if
Well,
there's
you
a bike
couldn't put
path
any-
going to Creek Road or to Buck Springs.
Okay,
Internally, you mean?
well, we had
Just
that
so
this,
it can't cut up the farmland, but if there's a way to put in a bike path going
Yeah.
to Creek Road or over to the Springs without affecting the farmland.
right, and
Yeah,
what,
I think we
we-
talked
we had,
about
yeah.
this at the last meeting we got together. Dan included a sketch with his last review that sort of suggested a connection to somewhere to Creek Road that would run along a disturbance corridor that we already
That's
have.
right.
And it's
And
like an
and
access road?
What's that?
That's the access road for
Yeah.
the spray.
Yes.
So
And-
spray
Or we
system.
also looked at the corner at Creek Road, at the hard bend right there, maybe bringing that in and picking that up, and running along that utility corridor to connect up with
Mhm.
basically the village green. So-
And the Springs does have an access road going to Creek Road,
Correct, it does.
going out the back. It's it's got a chain across
Yeah.
it, but you
Right.
can ride a
Emergency
bicycle
exit,
on it. Yeah.
Isn't it?
On the corner,
Mhm.
where Creek Road bends north.
so I think we were talking, that would be in lieu of anything along Creek or.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think anyone needs it.
And relative to detail that, I know we requested or suggested maybe deferring and meeting out to assess the stream bank conditions there in the woods along this culvert. So maybe we could do that at the same time and bring that in the final details. The path, yeah.
So defer the stream bank consideration to final.
And impacting the exact location of the path. Look at both of them together. The bike path, that is.
Anything else, Dan?
There were 3 waiver requests regarding landscaping that I deferred to Carol, and I don't know if you have.
Refresh my memory. They are.
They were minimum buffer requirements, minimum buffer planning requirements and dimensional requirements. And then the formal LA of street trees being along the right-of-way versus in that grass verge. I think you did. I think, yeah, you might have had some, I know, you might have had some conditional approval items, but they were, again, I just deferred them to Carol, and I'm presuming your landscape architect and Carol
We did
will work
talk
out.
about, I think in that same context, extending the 413 path down to the springs.
So,
entrance.
Carol, you addressed those things in your March 24th, 23 letter, is that
Yes.
accurate? And you guys are okay with her comments in that letter? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gray?
No, that is it, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Of course, Judge.
Okay, anything else to offer, Dana?
Does Rick go on?
This?
So, as I understand it, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
they are agreeing to comply with the Township Landscape Review Committee letter of March 24th, 2023.
okay,
The Night Engineering Review letter of April 14th, 2023. The Night Engineering Water and Wastewater Review letter of November 15th, 2023. And the waiver requests set forth in their letter of February 28th, 2023, and revised April 18th, 2023, are just as discussed. The bike path will go into Creek Road corridor in lieu of anything along Creek Road itself. And you're deferring the stream bank consideration to final, which may impact the location of the bike path. And the landscape review waivers were supported as previously noted. So if you were to choose to approve or move to approve, that would be what it would be subject to.
so I'm gonna make,
Those conditions
A
would be accepted.
preliminary
to the
plan
applicant.
approval.
yes,
And I would just add that there was also a Bucks County Planning Commission
Oh,
review of January 6, 2021.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lou.
that's okay.
And
2021.
It's been a while.
And Maggie reminded me that they had submitted a revised waiver letter that had one additional waiver that wasn't covered in my review.
Is that the 4/18/23 revision?
Yes. So they submitted that day that they came to the board meeting, and it was about additional plantings in the stormwater management facility, similar to what we had with Mr. Kervick a few weeks ago. I'm okay with the waiver, subject to working through the details of some of the basin installations, to make sure that, they were asking for relief on trees in some of the facilities.
Density of it.
Well, there was a density, but you also had, I guess, no trees in some of the facilities because you had a liner. I just have to work through some of the details
Yeah,
on
and I
liners
think
and
we
stuff.
also we wanted to come up with a mutual resolution on the seating, knowing that some of the bio-basins, the seating doesn't seem to,
Doesn't ever
it's
seem to
always a
take,
battle.
yeah,
So maybe-
which is why we've asked for the shrubs and the trees.
Yeah, and maybe plugs.
And yeah. So long as we can continue to work with their landscape architect on coming up with an appropriately scaled landscaping plan, we're fine with the waiver request.
So the January 6, 2021 Bucks County Planning Commission letter, you're okay with, will comply?
Lori, you got all of the letters we sent, okay, so based on what was just said by our consultants about the letters, I'll make a motion based on what was just said to give preliminary plan approval, based on those things. Am I missing something other than that to put in the motion? Okay, do I have a second?
You have a second.
Do we have a discussion?
Anybody out there?
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna address some of the residents' concerns. For years, we tried to approach the McKees to preserve this property. It never happened because there was a couple letters noting that. It breaks my heart to see this happen because it's across the street from my house and my business. But they've jumped through every hoop that they're supposed to. And that's where we're at this point.
And there's zone for that, just the bottom line.
And it's zoned for that, correct, so.
Well, it's a far cry from the hundreds and hundreds that were originally
Correct.
proposed on this site.
Correct, I mean, I think there might be 560 homes right now in the Springs. I wasn't happy to see that go in either.
But we love you now.
But we live with it, and we did as a township take the McKees to Is it Superior Court?
Supreme Court, three
Supreme
times.
Court, 3 times, because they felt that they could build another 600 homes on this piece of property. Or maybe it was 300 homes, I forget what it was. But it's
A
down.
lot.
It was a
Hundreds
heck of a
and
lot.
hundreds of
It's
homes.
long.
It was
So
a
it's
heck of a
down,
lot.
it's down to 40 homes.
And now it's 40.
And we did win at the Supreme Court, and that was a long time ago, and we spent a lot of money on that. And so we can't fight this because this is what it's zoned for. It was not zoned for another modular home park, but it's zoned for this. So it probably went from 300 and some homes down to 40 homes, and that's where we're at.
Correct. And I'll say of anybody on the board that could easily try to oppose this, is John, because he's part of the neighborhood there, and the original owner of the part of the neighborhood. So, you know, everything that John said, you know, John sees that, and, you know, I see that being a direct neighbor. So, and they have done everything they said they were gonna do. And I think this process has been a decent process with, you know, trying to work together and get to where we are now, and I appreciate that.
But
So-
just remember, we tried to preserve it.
Correct.
At one time, somebody wanted to put previous boards were gonna put the Catholic Church there, which
I
people
forgot
don't
about
remember.
that. That was before me.
We
Yep.
would have loved to have a park there, but at this point, this is probably the best we're gonna get. So,
And so I'm just gonna piggyback onto what these guys were saying, and thank the neighbors, especially along Creek Road, because I know some of you are here tonight. And from the beginning of this process, the neighbors were very astute at what was coming to the area. And I live up the street in Forest Grove, so, you know, this is close to me. But the neighbors along Creek Road and in that whole area of Lower Mountain Road, this is nothing like the first plan we saw here. And that's partially because of mostly because of neighbor input.
Yep.
Because when we have people come out like that and support what we think's best for the township, things move along. And then we have compromises with you fellas over there, and you know, really thank you for that. But thanks to the neighbors.
Okay, any other discussion or public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you. What I'm gonna do, since we have 2 more items before our escrow releases. Yeah, we're gonna have public comment after number 27 before escrow releases. So I'm just gonna finish the last 2. Make a motion. We agree to a development request for an extension of time within which to complete the improvements as set forth in the land development contract to January 14th, 2025, covering the Bucks County Airport Authority. PH1, Township File LD 2001-03A. Do I have a second?
Not from me, I'm sick of this.
John, second?
second.
Okay, explain.
This is
Happy New Year.
continuing, they have never finished the phase 1 improvements. They have some stuff in phase 2 that have lingered simply because they have to wait for funding. I think the expectation was they were gonna come back and do phase 1 and 2 somewhat together. I do understand that they are working toward, the next round of improvements, which include, you know, a new FBO and some other improvements out there. So we may be seeing them back in here with their next land development, but perhaps we could put some,
2001?
we could put some pressure on them to complete these improvements.
Yeah, now 20 years ago, they wanted to move the FBO to the other side
Yes,
of the runway,
Yeah.
and they wanted to have a restaurant, and we had no problems with that.
I believe that the FBO, I think they're gonna put some classrooms and some other improvements off of Skyrun and Stony on the old Mott and Keenan properties
Yeah.
that they acquired years ago. I think they're working toward that, just getting their plans together. We have not seen anything formal from them, but that's what I understand sort of in the background.
Yeah, so they want, their FBO is a fixed base operation, and they wanted to put classrooms there and a restaurant.
I don't know if the restaurant's still on the table. I haven't heard that. I know that they're looking at maybe moving their fuel depot, so it's closer, it's closer to that
And the
FBO.
fuel's probably still above ground, but their
Well, I think FAA is trying to get them to eliminate it from the runway protection zone. That was the last discussion we had about, relocating the fuel farm.
But their
away.
current FBO is still, has asbestos in it.
It's a woefully inadequate
Yeah,
building,
it's
so.
from the fifties, so, okay.
So we will, I will again speak to the engineer. I don't reach out to them unless there's an issue. And I haven't talked to them for probably about a year, so I will reach out and see where they are with this.
Well,
You'll get phase 2 soon
Yeah,
too.
they're not in a hurry.
They are not in a hurry. So they're not gonna get
And I always feel the need to say, anything that comes up with the airport are usually issues like this. An actual expansion is not gonna happen. It was stopped 20 years ago.
Right.
It's off the table.
It has to do with what's there
This is
now.
completing the stormwater improvements
Correct.
that are significantly complete. The stormwater's done. It is just addressing the punch list and closing out the permits.
Correct.
And I'll say Maggie's issue is that the number on the land development is 2001, so it's 22 years
Poor
old.
me.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, so, okay, you got it,
Okay,
Paul.
cool. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me. Okay, number 27. Make a motion, we agree to the developer's request for an extension of time within which to complete improvements as set forth in the stormwater facility development contract to January 7th, 2025, covering Raymond J. Flynn and Tamara F. Flynn, tax map parcel 06-010-184. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, before we get the escrow releases, if you have public comment, please just come up. You don't have to raise your hand, just stay in line. So, any public comment? Do you see anybody?
Oh, really? Sign stuff here.
And if you could just say your name and address for the record.
Jeff Glauber, Twin Brook Circle. Happy New
Jeff.
Year. I thought this was one I could solve myself, but I found that I was unable. About a year ago, I started noticing post-use utility poles left on our street.
Yep.
And I live off of Cold Spring Creamery. There are a bunch of them on Cold Spring Creamery. I called the PennDOT office in Plumstead, thinking, okay, it's a state road. They can, get Pico to pick them up. They were very helpful on the phone. A year later, nothing's happened. As I drove around on January 1st, yesterday, they were scattered all around. I found 11 of them. I think I sent Dana a presentation that shows pictures. I'm sure you guys will recognize some of them. But Pico's just leaving them on our streets. Historically, what I'm seeing is it's where homes aren't. So they figure nobody's going to object if I just leave it here. And it's, they're all around. And I only look in one area, as you'll see in the presentation. I think somebody should take a look around the rest of the town, maybe maintenance crews as they're on the road or whatever, and just document them, because they shouldn't be, they contain creosote, they're not gonna decompose, and they're just ugly as sin.
Jeff, I feel your pain. My family's property is divided by the high tension towers. On each side, there's creosote poles, and when they replace them, they cut them up and they leave them there.
Exactly.
I'll cut them up in 6-foot sections and just leave them there, and I'll pick them up with my loader and I take them up and I dump them at the substation on 413. And eventually, they stop by and they pick them up. But this piece of property that they have stretches from 413 at the winery all the way back to Holly Kong Road. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't think they're allowed to go in a municipal zone, like closed landfill.
I don't either.
Yeah,
But
so I don't know what
they must
they're.
have a home for them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're supposed to do with them, but they're replacing them because they're no good anymore. The outside may be okay, but the inside is rotted away.
Yeah, and I know
Yeah,
Jeff and I talked, and I appreciate you doing that because Jeff and I had talked about a month ago, someone came into the township, and Eric called them, and they did come and pick some of them up, but there's more of them. So a woman came, she was a resident, she was picking up leaf bags, and we just started talking. And she's like, can you help me with this? And then I talked to Eric, he had called them, and they did pick them up. But I was talking to Jeff, and it's the same thing. So I didn't get a chance to talk to Dana yet about it because of the holidays, but
We
I'm glad
talked.
we did.
Talk today.
We
So-
got
Perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Thank
You'll
you.
see in your folder, take a look at it.
It
There's a
is. It's in the
specification
folder.
that has
She's
Yeah.
right, it's in here.
pictures and-
I thought
Dana-
maybe you
Dana-
emailed it in, but
Dana,
if you
she
called.
just got it today, so.
Perfect.
And I actually sent it over to my contact at Pico and the Public Works
Yeah.
Director, so
That's
I'll
great.
follow up.
Yeah,
with
and-
both of
and-
them.
And,
and
They
this-
just
and I'll
got it
take,
this
one of
afternoon.
them is mine from the Wawa, so we'll
Oh.
get rid of that one.
Got it.
I guess the first
That
picture.
one we can get rid
That
of.
one,
And-
Wawa will be taking care of that.
And,
So there we go.
So there,
We already-
we're one out of
We already
11.
got one.
but I will tell you, I think it was last summer, Pico did a lot of, they put in a bunch of emergency cutoff switches on 413 where the high tension, 413 cuts into the high tension towers that splits up our winery property. And they were there for probably, I don't know, it's like a month and a half, 2 months. They were not Pico people. They were from Louisiana because they subcontract this work out
Yeah.
now. And they subcontract the work. And when I told the guys, like, get rid of the telephone poles, they didn't care.
That's not in
not-
their
that's not-
contract.
They were going back to Louisiana, so they didn't really care.
And a lot of
So-
times, Jeff, like, we're your neighbors, we're just like you, so when we see something, we say something,
Yep.
but we also rely on our neighbors to say something to us, because, you know, it's not like, you know, we have 200 employees and we're all driving around looking for things. So it's important that our neighbors bring this stuff up to us, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We
Thank you.
talk, we
Thank you.
email.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Jeff.
So where it's
Happy
in,
New Year.
it's back in Pico's, the court's back, the ball's back in Pico's court.
But we can
So,
keep on
let's see
top
what-
of it.
Yeah, we'll stay on top.
Okay. Oh, sorry, someone else?
Carol.
As a
Carol.
township resident, I'm just gonna make a comment.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing these poles. When they came through the township, 2 years ago, and they were upgrading the poles?
That was on
Oh, no.
Lower Mountain Road.
Now,
Mill that came up Furlong
Oh,
Mill,
okay.
up
Yeah.
through the north, right?
At the corner of Bell Road and Birdhouse Hill Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are poles hidden in the grass. This is
Yes.
on Church School Road.
uh-huh.
The grass is growing up now. The pole is parallel to the edge of the road.
Okay, so what road is
Dana
that?
has a picture of that.
Okay,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
road is
Birdhouse
that on?
Hill,
I remember that.
Church School.
Yeah, okay.
But if we get snow and the guys are plowing, some of these things are sticking out, they don't know.
They're gonna
they're
get
there
hurt.
and they can catch it.
Yeah.
Pico.
That's a good point, Carol.
Because it's just these things. No. Yeah,
So-
these are just-
We'll make sure we stay on top of that. Did, any other public comment? Just come up. Is that it? Okay. We'll go to escrow releases. Consideration, make a motion, we approve the Wawa Convenience Store Wawa escrow account, Township File LD 2018-02, request for release number 1 in the amount of $712,763.77. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, Dan? Anything with that?
These are, the building improvement, escrow, so this is a lot of the on-site stuff. I think Carol still had a list of, landscaping that still need to be, confirmed to be adequate, I guess is probably the best way to say it, that they
Well,
planted,
a
but,
partial release
Yeah.
because of the plant material going in and not being monitored, the revenue system doesn't seem to be functioning properly, so they've got some issues to address.
so we'll look at that again in the spring, but that's what the majority of this is, just the on-site stuff, none of the, development stuff.
Okay, perfect. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Make a motion, we approve Mill Creek Ridge, Smith Pfeiffer Site, Township File SA 2001-05C. Request for release number 12 in the amount of $170,656.03. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? No discussion, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next one. Mr. Scardetto.
He's here.
Hello, okay. Make a motion, the Scardetto Stormwater Facility Development Contract, permit PSW 190013. 808 Pineville Road, tax map partial 6-23-55-1, request for release number 7 in the amount of $740.63. Or a second for now, discussion?
There's a note there.
A
from
second
finance.
with the note from the finance
Yep.
director.
Correct, okay. Note from the finance director. Mr. Scudetto owes $3,087.92 to maintain the required $5,000 minimum escrow from November 30th of '23. Project statement, the December bills total $616.44. That will be due at the end of January of '24. Dana, do you wanna?
So you've got a second. And didn't
Yeah,
we have
for
this-
discussion.
Didn't we have this discussion the last time, or no? The last time there was an extra,
I think we did.
an escrow and we waived it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no. Here you go.
So what's the deal?
So, and Mr. Scudetto's here, the release right now, is for some driveway culvert installation that he has, attempted to complete, along the front of his lot. We were there for the first segment of the pipe, and then Mr. Scudetto finished the rest. When we went back for the escrow release, noted that there were some issues with it. We have asked PennDOT to take a look at it since it's a PennDOT permitted driveway entrance. I got a note from the local permit manager that they were sending their inspector out this week. So I would hope to hear back from PennDOT at some point on whether the installation's actually adequate to them. There were some joints that were open, and there was a little bit of erosion occurring
Because there
along
was
the
some
road.
kind of pipe you couldn't find, right? Or size?
No, I had the pipe, it was, errors by the night engineering that caused the original supplier to back out. And I had to go all the way to Maryland to get a supplier.
Okay, so you got everything you needed now.
But, as Steve Scudetto, Pineville Road, as, Mr. Gray stated, they were notified to monitor the installation.
Okay.
To avoid issues.
Yeah.
During that monitoring, I was never contacted by note, by verbal, by anything, that there were any issues with the ongoing installation. Then, after 2 months, after notifying them that it had started, I get the review notice that says there's problems with it. So all along, there was no contact. As a matter of fact, they contacted PennDOT, never bothered to copy me on issues that they were stating to PennDOT directly. So from the day I contacted them and say, please monitor this, so we wouldn't have any issues, never heard from them. Never. Now, all of a sudden, at the last minute of December 29th, 1 day before this meeting, business day, there's issues. And you're saying that the pipe caused the routing or the scouring of the swale. A 30-foot tree fell down in the storm.
I'm just saying
They
that
put
the,
the debris back in my swale.
Okay.
That swale was scoured by this large tree,
Who
which
put
is the
the-
one you wanted to
Who put
remove.
it back in?
PennDOT put the debris in?
Whoever cleared the road, I don't know, I wasn't there for it. Because the tree was 30 feet. It fell all over the road during the first
Was it-
December
was the
storm.
tree on your property or
Neighbor's
across the
tree,
street?
On the PennDOT property, on mine.
Okay.
But it fell everywhere.
It fell, all right.
It was a 30-foot tree. It was
Now,
long.
and technically what
They're allowed to put
everybody
it in
who,
the swale?
well, whoever removes the tree, that lumber is your lumber. So they'll cut the tree at the middle of the road and they'll return the lumber back to the property owner, which is you. That's
They
why
didn't cut anything. They just pushed it all into the swale.
I wasn't involved in
That's
the
fine.
removal, right?
I cleared it myself.
Right.
I went there by hand and cleared it myself, except for the large trunk that is not in the swale. Luckily, that wasn't disturbing anything. But the outflow from the pipe didn't cause the scouring. That debris did.
Okay.
Didn't see that. There's visual proof right there.
And the night engineering also said that there weren't any,
Rip rap?
correct. As you can see, this stone and my shoe, size-wise,
Yeah.
they're fairly large stones. Now, there's not a lot of stone there because it's already causing a back swell in that pipe. But if we add more stone, it's just going to overflow into the road. I mean, I'll put more stone there if you need it, but it's not scouring that swell. There's very little flow out of that pipe. That is a storm
Yeah, I mean,
flow
here,
pipe.
there's that picture right there. I'm sure, and when it rains, there's flow, but
They're slow, but I mean, you can actually see it, like if you have a video, you can see it circling inside the flare. It doesn't flow out at a very high rate.
So, Dan, are you saying that that's not?
So per the approved plan, and again, this is a PennDOT permit, so, you know, we watched the first pipe go in, Mr. Scardato.
Why did you not tell me there were issues?
Because we didn't go out and look at it until the escrow release came in.
Why? You
Because
were told to monitor the pipe?
No. We were told to come out one day. You called me at 3 o'clock and said,
hold on,
come out,
sir.
hurry up.
Wait,
No,
let
me
Dan finish. I want to.
And then you worked on it at some point in the future. You never called back and said, I have call logs. You never called back.
I didn't have to call back because I had a conversation with George
Yep.
when he came out, and I said, continue to monitor this
And
installation.
when
It's
did
gonna be ongoing.
you worked
That
on it
day.
on the next day you worked on it?
Absolutely, it was that pipe, I left 24 hours to 48 hours for the mortar to cure.
Did you-
Okay,
did
those
you-
pipes were exposed for 1 to 2 days for him to monitor that. Why he stopped monitoring it, why he never contacted me, I don't know.
Not our job to contact you. You were to contact us.
I did contact you and I said,
And-
monitor it.
and
And
my
I said to
understanding
George, I
was-
said, this is going in a week. I need access to my livestock.
Look, it is PennDOT's permit. I have a concern that the pipe is open. You didn't connect the pipes.
No, the pipe is, they're all sealed.
You can see the 2-inch drop between the joints.
That is the flare, and that is the rubber sealing that was supposed to be used for the flare.
Put the pipes together
They are
and they
together.
close together. All right,
They
well,
are
again, it is a PennDOT permit. I am deferring to PennDOT.
Okay.
If they say everything's fine, we'll release your funds.
Why weren't you contacted? Why didn't you contact me with the issues, those issues?
I issued my letter the same day I contacted PennDOT
On the 29th, why didn't you copy me on that contact?
because it's their permit. I just
I'm the
notified them.
permittee. Why wouldn't you copy me? There's professional courtesy.
I apologize. I will contact you in the future. You tell me not to contact certain people. I tried to reduce the amount of.
But you were contacting them. Why, you could just CC Stevie Boy 1. It's that easy.
I apologize for not
Okay.
contacting you.
I mean, in the past, you didn't want
Yeah,
Dan
but he's already
and Craig
creating a
to
letter.
contact you, so.
No, I didn't want extra emails that I had to pay for, but since
Yeah.
I was already paying for
And that
this one,
doesn't end.
a copy
Okay,
wouldn't have been
that's
an
what,
issue.
that was the last time. So, anyway, this is PennDOT, so if PennDOT's cool with it, then the township's cool with it.
So
Like you
I'll
just said.
make I'll modify my motion.
We need that back.
Modify my motion that if PennDOT approves this as is, then we can release the escrow fund. And if PennDOT doesn't approve it, then we're gonna have to reevaluate it. Do I have a second?
You've got a second.
Okay.
I still have additional discussion. May I?
Yeah, I gotta
Absolutely.
get to that point. Okay, so I have a second, we're gonna do further discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Stitter.
So the flare is one section of a 5-section, 35-foot storm pipe. The only section that's identified there as having a rubber gasket as opposed to high-strength mortar sealed joints, 24 to 48 hour curing process before dirt was placed on top of them. All those other pipes are sealed. But he didn't release any of the money for the $2,400 to R&R those pipes. Only the flare piece was the one that's in question. Now, all of a sudden, I don't get any money at all unless PennDOT approves everything.
That's not true. Did you read the letter where I showed the two pictures? One's coming from upstream and they're out of alignment?
You're not out of alignment.
Okay. My opinion there is they're out of alignment.
Okay.
And I will defer to PennDOT too, whether they accept it or not. That is it.
Your firm asked me not to have the head wall, which is gigantic, next to the road because it would endanger people driving down that road. Now, they go very fast. So to avoid that, and with George's approval, I made sure I was at least 1 to 2 feet from the road. That put me at an angle where I was either going to have Pico take down my electric pole, which they just installed because the pipe would have ran right into it, or curve the pipe in a direction towards the road without causing road erosion.
The discussion we had was put the pipe where it's shown on the approved plan. I raised the concern about it being close to the road.
George approved where it was located.
Right, and that was fine.
Okay, so now why is there a curvature problem?
You had said that the pipes are fine. That was my concern, is the pipes are open and they're curved.
Wait a
It
minute, you
is
said
not-
the pipes are open, only the flare is open. The rest of those pipes are absolutely not open.
When you don't align a pipe straight, the joint is open.
It isn't open, it's sealed.
Okay.
Okay, but
It was
here-
packed,
here's my
it was
question.
packed with
Other than
high-strength
the
mortar
fact that-
by hand. My hands put that mortar on that installation,
Hold on,
including
Dan.
wire. Okay?
Mr. Scardello,
There's not an
other than the
open-
fact
I don't
that-
want my driveway to fail.
Other than the fact that you think
Why did they stop
PennDOT,
monitoring?
other than the fact that you think Dan should have CC'd you, other than that fact, what is the issue with PennDOT? It's their thing. You're arguing with us for something that don't need
I
to
don't
agree
have
to.
an-
It's
I don't
PennDOT.
have an issue
So what's the
with
issue?
PennDOT doing an assessment.
Okay.
I have an issue with the township being on monitoring, billing me for it, and then I have an issue at the very end to possibly have to remove a section or do something later when they could have told me there was an issue while it was ongoing. They had opportunity, they were notified, and they didn't do the monitoring.
Okay, so if Dan would have said there's an issue, if Dan would have said there's an issue and PennDOT would have accepted it, you also would have got mad at us because you would have said, well, PennDOT's accepting this. So I'm kind of not understanding. Either PennDOT's going to agree to it or not agree with it. Then you're upset that Dan didn't CC you, which he would have charged you for. and
No,
you probably-
he already wrote the letter.
He would have charged you also for emailing you.
For a
That's
copy?
what you do.
For to hit CC, you
Okay,
get charged
am
for
I
it,
wrong
John?
about-
I don't know, Paul.
Am I wrong about fees?
No, we've had complaints from Mr. Scarletto about fees and everything, and
For
frankly,
2,
I
3,
can.
4, 10 years.
Yeah, and I can speak to the same problem, because you get told at one point, don't send emails because I'll get charged for them. And then the next meeting, you get yelled at for having not sent an email.
No, he sent an email.
So the inconsistency is the problem, is that, it's hard to do that.
It doesn't cost anything
he's
to copy
gonna get-
somebody on an email.
Excuse me, Mr. Scarletto,
So-
you're not running the meeting, the chairman is, so you
I'm
don't
allowed to
turn
speak to
around
my
and talk to
neighbors. I'm
anybody.
allowed to speak to my neighbors.
Well, they're
This is
fortunately not your
America.
neighbors
We're allowed
yet.
to speak in America.
You will.
Not in the
Just be
middle of the meeting,
respectful.
okay?
Right, you're being
The
disrespectful.
chairman is running the meeting, not you.
You're being disrespectful.
If I'm being disrespectful to you, I apologize, but I'm being respectful to the board and to the chairman.
Just like the last meeting after I left, and there was a negative comment made about me that I saw on the video.
So in any event, it's an
From
ongoing
Mr.
problem. The consultants don't know whether to email them or not email them, because you're gonna get a complaint no matter what you do.
And we're not gonna have somebody out there monitoring your property because you wouldn't wanna pay for it. And I don't mean, wait,
did
I
pay
don't
for
mean
it.
that, I don't mean that in a mean way. Nobody would wanna be paying for somebody to stand around and monitor something. You wouldn't.
Somebody doesn't have to stand around to monitor something, but when a pipe is left for review, and the engineering firm was contacted to do that review, monitoring began, they were there on multiple occasions monitoring, and all of a sudden there's an issue. But not at any point was I ever notified that there were issues. So you're saying,
Okay, it's a
they're
pipe.
all the sections of pipe that
Okay, so
George.
let's,
Is the pipe done? Are you done with the
I
pipe?
think It's all done.
Perfect.
Okay, and if
PennDOT
PennDOT approves
approve
it, you're
then you're good to
golden.
So I won't have to come back to get the remaining escrow request,
I just made a motion to give you your money if PennDOT approves
the
it.
full amount I requested.
no, because you owe money.
No, I'm talking about all the items on my request.
So at the end of the day, this was the last item that Mr. Scarletto needed to complete.
Right,
We are, and again, this would be subject to your approval, we are going to forego requiring him to install the paved driveway surface from Pineville Road all the way to where his future house is going to be, because the house isn't
ready yet.
isn't being built yet, which we typically would require. PennDOT may ask you to pave a certain portion of it.
10 feet.
That would be up to PennDOT to determine what that is.
I'll pave it all the way up to the
And
fence.
again,
Yeah, but you're gonna have construction equipment.
and the other item
That's
is,
fine.
we typically require the NPDS permits to be closed out before you release all of the stormwater funding. In this case, again, Mr. Scarletto has not built his house yet, and theoretically, we would not want to close out, or he would not want to close out the NPDS until the house was completed, because that would just require him to open up a new NPDS. So for those two items, if you're okay with not having those two items completed, once the driveway pipe issue is resolved, there will be no reason to hold any additional funding in the escrow account. So you should be able to release it all, subject to PennDOT approval of your driveway pipe.
I'm fine.
so let me,
And then payment of any.
And payment of anything
That's
else, any
obvious.
so
bills
do
or
I need to
whatever else,
relook at this motion?
No, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, it says Mr. Scarletto owes $3,087.92 to maintain the $5,000 minimum escrow.
Correct.
We wouldn't need that anymore.
Right.
That's the end of it.
What?
But give me a second, let me
Wait a
ask the
second.
question.
So, and then he's got $616.44 in bills, but that's not till the end of January.
Right,
Does he get this $700 back, or because these bills aren't due till the end of January per Jill. I mean, we don't hold that against what he owes because.
Right, no,
It's not
that's
due
just a
yet.
no.
Right, but the reality is, the current escrow sits about at $45,000.
Yeah.
At the end, again, subject to both of those items being okay, not being completed, we would support the release of all the $45,000. And you typically, when you do your final release, subject to payment of any outstanding bills and clearing up of counts with the township. But the release would not be for $760, it would be for the $45,000.
Then that's why we need to relook at this, so sorry, Maggie.
No,
Can
I
you
mean,
explain the
that's
escrow
clear.
thing?
We're not holding your money.
Can
you
ex-
know.
yeah.
Get on with it so that you can not have agita.
Can
I would
you-
hope we would, yes.
Can you explain the 3,000? I mean, no, I understand it. My question is, do we need to make it go back to 5,000 if PennDOT could approve this? And that's my question.
You would be closing the contract out, so there'd
Yeah,
be no
so
reason to
there
maintain
wouldn't,
any
there
escrow.
wouldn't be.
Need.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So hold on for 1 second. Maybe I make a motion, redo my motion, that if PennDOT approves, and an agreement that you pay, if you're willing to pay the end of January bill, the 614.
Well, no,
That's enough
what you would
escrow.
do to close out before I would give back
You
the
take out the money.
45,000, we would,
Okay,
we would,
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Resolve
we would
outstanding.
resolve anything outstanding, anything that was.
so I can make a motion to
Yeah.
release if PennDOT approves and any other stipulation. I'm not sure if there's any other.
It was just
stipulation.
those two items not being completed, which we've talked multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that we can release it on.
Pending,
But we'll leave it up to you, not leave it up to you, but like.
yeah, pending
be a
of,
final-
You and Dan.
payment of that, any
Okay, can
outstanding
you give me,
invoices.
do I have to give an exact amount or can I say the
No.
rest of the escrow?
No,
Okay.
no,
Be-
because
be a
it
final
always
just
changes.
Okay.
now
It's gonna
anyway.
change.
So
It
let
will
me
always
redo
He
my
still hasn't
motion
finished with the permit.
and correct my motion if I'm wrong. I'm gonna redo my motion, Lori. So I make a motion that we approve Scudero Property Stormwater Facility Development Contract, permit number PSW 190013, 808 Pineville Road, tax map partial 6-23-55-1, for the release of all of Mr. Scardetto's escrow, which is roughly $45,000, with the stipulation that PennDOT gives approval for his stormwater pipes,
For his driveway and.
for
drainage.
driveway and stormwater pipes. Any other stipulation besides that? Okay, and if they do, we'll give Dana and Dan the approval minus what he owes to township, the rest of his escrow, closing it out and not requiring him to do his $5,000 minimum. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any discussion, or did I say something that's out of place or I'm missing something? Okay. So, before we vote on it, Mr. Scardetto, I hope this satisfies you. Don't let frustration on both sides of us saying things out of frustration, make your mind not at ease. Believe me, you see we're trying to do stuff too. We disagree with things, it's fine. Hopefully this will settle things. You'll feel good tonight. We'll get it done and you'll be done. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that
Okay,
fair?
So then we're waiting for any check to release at all, so we hear from PennDOT.
I don't, how long will
Right.
PennDOT take?
Yes.
I got a note this morning that they were gonna send their inspector out.
So Dan will be on top of it, but know this,
So the
it's
answer is
better,
yes.
yes, the answer, and it's better that way, because this way you'll get it done and you'll get everything done.
Right.
And we'll be satisfied, we won't worry about small
They're-
bills that we have to collect
they're the
from you,
ones that
not
are
that
this way.
you wouldn't pay it anyway, but
Right.
everybody will be satisfied if you can just wait a little bit longer.
Sure.
You don't have to wait till the next meeting,
Okay.
okay?
And I don't
Dan
have
will
to do
stay on
another
top of
release
it.
request, it'll all be.
No.
It's gonna be a final release once you
Yeah,
get.
because I was notifying Gus the whole time too. He was getting daily emails with photographs of everything going on. I never heard from him either. I don't get it,
But-
thank you very much.
Yeah,
And
no
again,
problem, and understand that it's not like I'm calling PennDOT and saying, hey, is there an issue? This is totally on PennDOT. We're not trying to, if they approve it, they approve it, we're golden. No one's trying to, get a certain answer. So let's just hope they approve it and we can move on. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
drive safely. Okay. Now, let's do additional business managers items. The next Board of Supervisors work session and regular business meetings are scheduled on January 24th, 2024, beginning at 6 p.m.
I'm going to actually,
Yes.
you'd have to look at your calendars, but I may ask you to start your meeting at 5 p.m. because we do have your EAC coming in for a presentation
Oh.
at 6 p.m.
Got it.
And I know we also want to invite the fire companies back in.
Yes,
Lee,
that's true.
we'll be inviting you back in to have further discussions based on your discussions about getting a referendum set up and
Okay.
that kind of thing. I want to get that started. So
So
I think
5.
we're going to need an earlier
5.
start.
You don't think it needs to be 4:30? 5's
Maybe
okay.
even 4:30, but
Yeah.
I know that's,
Yep,
you know, getting tough with work
I think
schedules.
4:30 would be,
Fine.
okay.
Would that be all right?
So let's do
All right.
4:30. I think that would give us ample time.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, and Dana, any other managers items?
No,
Those are work session stuff.
no, I think we're good here, for the business meeting. Trying to think if we have any additional executive or,
Any personnel or anything like
Do
that?
we need like Brown Brothers or anything? Is that's on the list?
I have not spoken.
we
to Brent.
haven't heard back from them yet, so that's. on
Oh,
the-
okay.
I'll reach out to him before next meeting and see if he's got any update.
McGann on Lower Mountain Road.
That will probably be on, that'll probably be on the next meeting.
Oh, that's the Lower Mountain Road property, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the mountainside.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's all McGann, and then,
Yeah, we're just like prepped,
Okay,
we're
yeah.
already prepped for the next, we're going on to the next one,
Okay.
we're getting ready.
Okay, I make a motion, we close the January 2nd Board of Supervisors reorg and business meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
aye, reluctantly.
Do I have an aye?
Oh, aye, sorry.
I have to wait till I
I
hear
gave you
an
seconds. You want it all.
aye. I do. Thank you.
Thank you.